Well, good day and welcome to another edition of the Grantley Show. It's nice to have your company today. So my guest on the program today, you'll be very interested to know that she hosts her own podcast. Not only does she host, she produces and she edits the podcast. It's called The Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast. It's an award-winning kidney health podcast that empowers, educates and uplifts everyone affected by or is interested in kidney disease, chronic kidney disease, dialysis prevention, and also organ donation. Please welcome with me the one and only Dee Moore. Hey Dee, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
I
How are
think
you?
after all of that, right, Dee, I think you deserve one of these. Honestly, because honestly, I think you do so much. And I am inspired by you, so much so that you're sitting in the chair talking to me. Dee, just reading through the information that I was sent and doing a little bit of research, you are actually somebody that's gone through the journey and is still on that journey. Tell us how your kidney dialysis and everything else, tell us how that all began for you.
My journey with kidney disease started in 2018, or rather, I was diagnosed in 2018. And it came after months of having symptoms, not knowing what was going on, feeling hot, sweaty, run down, generally unwell, to the point where it got to the point where I couldn't ignore the symptoms anymore. Went to A&E, had some blood tests done, and the doctor said, we have to admit you. And I was admitted to the hospital that night, and I was in hospital for just over 2 months in total, during which my kidney function plummeted, and I was finally diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. So my journey started from there.
Yeah, and I've got to ask you this question because I want to be extremely clear. You went to the hospital and ended up staying 2 months, or did you go home?
No, staying 2 months.
You stayed. What was that like, Dee? Because I mean, you leave your house, okay? You leave your house and you go to A&E. Now, most people, when they leave their house and they go to A&E, the intentions is to come back home, right? You stayed for 2 months. What was that like?
Well, at first you think, oh my gosh, like I was right, something is really wrong. And the days become weeks, the weeks became months. And over the course of time, because 2 nights into being into the hospital, I started fevering. So I was fevering all night, every night, continuously. So I'm dealing with the fevers, I'm dealing with the continuous tests to try and find out why my kidneys were failing, which I was told 1 week into being in the hospital, and no one knew why my kidneys were failing. So you're like in the hospital, not knowing why your kidneys are failing. You know your kidneys are failing. They're not treating you because they don't know why your kidneys are failing, and you're in the hospital and can't go home.
Yeah.
And as time went on, it became more and more difficult being there because it's a long time to be away from home, away from your family.
It is. And would I be right in saying, Dee, that you're a mum?
Yes, I've got
and
2
you're a
sons.
wife, and you do all of these other things. But being a mum and a wife, the point I'm trying to make is, as a mum, your children rely on you, right? And then all of a sudden, you're not there. You're not there for 2 months. What happened to the household?
Well, Roger, my husband, he was in charge and had to manage taking care of the then young boys, school runs, working himself, coming to visit me and support me. So he had to balance everything.
So you got diagnosed, okay? You got diagnosed, and what was that like? Because I mean, prior to going into the hospital, there was symptoms. Didn't quite understand what the symptoms were. After a period of time of being in the hospital, you were diagnosed. What was it like hearing the news about the diagnosis?
Well, the diagnosis came later because when I was discharged from the hospital, there was still the hope that my kidneys might recover. So there was a period after being discharged from the hospital that there was that hope that I would get better. And they tried a treatment, and it's a very strong treatment that they tried. It's actually a treatment that they give to cancer patients. And unfortunately, the treatment didn't work. So it was at that point, a few months later, that it was official. It is chronic kidney disease. It isn't going to get better. And you're now officially a kidney patient and you have to live with this condition for the rest of your life. So it came as a shock because for me, I in my mind, I didn't fit the person who may develop kidney disease. In my mind, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I take care of myself, I exercise regularly, I drink plenty of water. In my mind, I was doing everything to take care of my health. So it really came as a massive shock.
Yeah. And a lot of people that, let me put it this way, right? I was about to say something, a lot of people, but here's the thing, okay? Most people have kidneys,
Yes.
okay? We, most people have got kidneys. And I say that to say that just like yourself, Dee, most people think, yeah, I've got my liver, I've got my kidneys, I've got my spleen, I've got my heart, etc., etc. And just like you, I exercise regularly, or I walk and stuff like that. I do drink water. I look after my health. I'm careful about what I eat. But then to all of a sudden be diagnosed and for these things to happen. Not only that, Dee, but over the course of being diagnosed and being in hospital, you've gone in depth to study what the kidney functions are. I mean, most people know that your kidneys do play an important role within your body system. Break it down for those who don't know what your kidneys do.
So your kidneys do a lot within the body. There's an acronym that helps you remember a wet bed. So, just to give you a few examples of what the kidneys do, they're responsible for water balance. They're responsible for um, cleaning your blood. They're responsible for the production of red blood cells. They're responsible for the acid balance in your body. They do so much, and if you think that normal functioning kidneys filter 100 milliliters of blood each minute, they are really, really powerful, continuously cleaning your blood, filtering the toxins. So they work very, very hard. And when they stop working, it affects so much in your body, like very, very quickly.
Yeah. Um, so, what makes it chronic? The term chronic. What makes it chronic?
Chronic means lifelong, so it means that you'll have it for the rest of your life.
Which means then you have to go on dialysis, right? Now,
Well, there's a difference between chronic kidney disease and being in kidney failure. So you can have chronic kidney disease, and there's 5 stages. So stages 1 to 4, and it's stage 5 that you are in kidney failure and require dialysis. So stages 1 to 4, no, you wouldn't require dialysis. Stages 5, yes.
okay, great, great. I'm glad you cleared that one up. So, what is dialysis? Many people have heard the term, but what actually is it?
So there's two main types of dialysis. There's hemodialysis and there's peritoneal dialysis. The first, well, I'll talk about peritoneal first. So peritoneal is the lesser known out of the two in terms of what people imagine dialysis. And basically, what happens is, in simple terms, you have a tube fitted into your stomach. Through this tube, fluid is put into the tube, which then goes into your peritoneum. There's a process called diffusion where the toxins go into this fluid, and then the fluid is then drained out of the body. And then there's two types, where one is done by the machine, or there's one where it's done manually, where you use gravity to put the fluid in and gravity for it to come out. Or you can use a machine to put the fluid in and then suck the fluid out. And this process is done either several times during the day or overnight. The other type is called hemodialysis, where I think people are more familiar, where you'll see somebody connected to a machine, their blood is taken out, cleaned, and then put back into the body, in simple terms. And that's the type of dialysis that I'm on.
I'm so glad that you made it clear for us what you're actually on. Dee, you are a champion. In fact, it's been known that you're a warrior. Which leads me really cleverly into the title of your podcast, The Diary of a Kidney Warrior. It'd be silly to ask the question, what made you start it? But I want you to explain why anyway.
Okay. For me, there was two things that when I was in the hospital that I continually said, I wanted to be healed, and the other thing I kept saying was something good must come out of this. And when it was clear, when I had the official diagnosis that uh, my condition was chronic, then that's when I made the decision within myself that I wanted to share my journey online, because for me it was like, this terrible thing has happened to me, but some good has got to come out of it. So maybe by sharing what I'm going through, what I'm learning, that somebody out there will benefit from this, and then everything that I've been through, it won't be for nothing, it won't be in vain. And so I started with the vlog, which I named Diary of a Kidney Warrior, sharing what I was going through, hence the name. And then later, the following year, um, after my husband suggested starting a podcast, I started Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast. And the intention with the podcast was, with the vlog, it was just me talking to the camera, it was me sharing my experiences and what I was learning. But with the podcast, I started interviewing people, so interviewing patients and health professionals to get a 360 view of kidney disease. So you've got the lived experience from the patients, and you've got the clinical experience of the health professionals.
Yeah, very good indeed. How many episodes are you in?
So I'm 144 episodes in now, and just about to release episode 145.
Wow. You know what? Yeah, definite. Absolutely stunning. Well done to you. Well done. So, you're a Christian. You're a
Yes.
Christian.
Yes.
Yeah, so, beg your pardon, I've got someone ringing me. Should have turned off my phone. My bad. All right, so you are a Christian, Dee, and as a Christian, or as Christians ourselves, okay, whenever things like this happen, the obvious thing to do, right? And I won't even say, correct me if I'm wrong. The obvious thing to do is to pray that God will heal you. Did you
Hmm.
go through that moment?
Oh, yeah, I went through that moment, and also very low moments, especially in the hospital. In fact, I got to the point where I fevered, my absolute lowest. I fevered so badly that I was literally lying in a pool of my own sweat, and literally the sweat was like came up to the size of my body, and I just lay in that pool of my own sweat, and I didn't move, because I was just like, Lord, I cannot take anymore. And and I prayed that God would take me, and um, and I look back on that and I think if God had honored that prayer, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't have released the vlog. I wouldn't have released the podcast. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. I wouldn't have been able to reach any of the people that God has really been gracious to bless me to reach in this journey since I started my online journey. And it just goes to show that sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is that God doesn't answer your prayer the way that you want Him to.
That is amazing to hear you say that. And there are some people saying, "What is she talking about?" But yeah, I no, I get it, Dee. I really do, because, like you say, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Let me ask you this question just to solidify what we're saying right now. Share with me, and I'm saying this with confidence. Share with me one of the testimonies that really touched your heart by doing the podcast. Someone came on and said what to you?
People message me and email me, and people have said different things on the podcast. But the one thing that really struck me was when somebody said to me that their father had been diagnosed with kidney disease, and as a family, they were really struggling and really not knowing what to do. They were lost. And they came across the podcast and they started listening to it. And they said that the podcast gave them fight. And that was the word that she used. And I think that is so important and so powerful, because when you are when you're diagnosed with this disease, your life completely changes, and the life of those around you completely changes too. And if you give up and they give up, everything is lost. But when you have that fight, and that's why I deliberately chose the term warrior kidney,
Warrior. Yeah,
because if you don't have that warrior fight,
yeah,
you lose everything. And I really do believe that the body follows the mind. You give up in your mind, you're gone.
you
So
go.
that was, I think, different people have said different things over time, that they've learned more from the podcast than X years of medical appointments, things like that. People have said that it's been life changing for them. So it's always so encouraging and humbling when people say this. And it goes back to when I was in the hospital and I just kept saying, something good has to come out of this. Something good has to come out of this. I said that continuously, like every single day I was in that hospital. And when I get messages like that, this is the good that came out of it.
Yeah, yeah. What is the one thing that you would say, like, that stands out above everything else that got you through this?
It was when my health coach, um, I when I had received my diagnosis a few months later, my consultant told me that he believed that I was 6 months away from dialysis. This was in 2019. And I was, my immediate reaction was, no, I'm not. I'm not going to be on dialysis in 6 months' time. God's going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm not going to be on dialysis. And I left that appointment and I was like really defiant, like, I'm not going to be on dialysis like this. And but then emotions hit me and I really started to really feel quite low. I went to see my health coach and I spoke with her and I was telling her, I've already been through this, da da da, dialysis on top of it, blah blah. Really just releasing all these emotions and just like a blah, and she listened to everything that I said. And when I finished speaking, she said really calmly, she said, "Dee, I want you to choose to live, and I want you to say these words: I choose to live." And I didn't say anything. I just sat there, and she left the room. She left me to think. And I sat there in silence for I don't know how long. And then eventually I whispered, I choose to live. And then I kept repeating it, I choose to live. I choose to live. I choose to, until I got louder and louder and louder until I was shouting, I choose to live at the top of my voice. And that, I mean, I called myself a kidney warrior before that point, but at that point, the kidney warrior truly was born. And from then to now, I that is my mantra. That is what I say continuously. I choose to live. That is what I encourage every single episode. That's what I end with. Choose to live. And that is the most life changing moment for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant. I know it hasn't been easy. It's not been an easy road. And when I met you a few weeks ago, Dee, you was telling me about, the distance that you have to go to. Yeah, tell us about that. Share with us. Where do you go for your treatment?
Well, I go locally for my treatment, but
Yeah.
when we met each other, I was at an event in London, but I had to go back to Birmingham to do my treatment and then go back because unfortunately there wasn't the option of me being able to go to a different centre. So it's things like that. Dialysis affects your day to day life. You um, really does have a massive impact on your life. So that was a perfect example, really, of
Yeah. And
being.
how has the family coped with it? I mean, they're obviously they're used to the idea now, but when it first happened, it must have been a big shock. What's the family? What's the, like? Is it all kind of part of normality now? What's the situation at home?
I asked my son about this because people ask me this question a lot, like how does this affect the family? And so I sat down with my son and I said, well, how does this affect you? How do you feel? And my son's answer to this was, I see you doing everything that you can to help yourself, so I don't have to worry. And he gave the example of, it's like if somebody has lung cancer and they carry on smoking, then you have no hope for them. But he sees that I'm very proactive and very active in trying to take care of my health. So I think that gives them some reassurance. But obviously, I'm their mom, I'm Roger's wife. They still have obviously worries and concern that I'm going to be okay. But at the
Yeah,
same time, having that comfort of knowing that number one, God's got my back. And
absolutely.
number two, I'm doing what I can to help myself.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. So, you've made the decision. You've choose to live, and that's what it is, right?
Absolutely. Choose to live.
Um,
I can't say that
yeah,
enough to everybody.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a tough decision for a lot of people, but I would imagine once you made up your mind that this is what it is, um, and when I say tough, I mean, okay, most people can set their mind to the fact that something's going to last for a small period of time. But when we're talking about lifetime, that's the difference, isn't it? It's a lifetime decision that this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, obviously, there's when I was diagnosed, I wasn't on dialysis, and just to recap, actually, it wasn't until 4 years later that I did end up on dialysis,
Yeah,
went into kidney failure. But along the journey, obviously, the severity of your kidney function dictates the impact on your life, really. So for people in the early stages of kidney disease up until kidney failure, it might not make that much difference to their everyday life, other than, I mean, sometimes people can feel quite exhausted, brain fog and leg swelling, but essentially they can continue with their everyday life. The biggest impact comes when obviously you're in kidney failure, you start dialysis and you're having to deal with that. But also then whether you're then put onto the transplant waiting list, waiting to see if you'll get a kidney transplant, which is another form of treatment. So
Yeah.
obviously there's different options and things along the way, and also complications that you have to face. So it's kind of like pregnancy. I mean, liking it, I mean, it's probably not the best comparison, but what I'm trying to say is, you know, that with pregnancy you're going to get these certain symptoms, and you one day you're going to be in labor and you're going to be in pain and this baby has to come out. And
Yeah.
it's similar with kidney disease. For the most part, I do my best to take care of myself and live as healthy as I can, but I know that there's days where I have to spend the day in bed and I have to rest and I don't feel well. I have to come to terms with the fact that while before I was training and exercising 4 times a week,
Yeah.
I can't do that now.
You can't do that anymore. Yeah.
It just is what it is, and it's coming to terms with, and that your identity has changed, and it's okay.
Yeah.
You have to do things differently, and it's okay. It doesn't make me less of a person, and I think
Yeah.
it really is making sure that you work on your mindset in terms of how you see things, because
Yeah.
there was a stage where it was like, I want to get back to 4 times a week, I want to get back to the gym, I want to get back to what I used to, putting that pressure on myself. But actually, when I got to the point where it's like, you know what, I set myself the target once a week, I'm going to exercise once a week, and that, come rain or shine, once a week, and that's okay. And when I gave myself permission, when I gave myself the space for this once a week, I was way more happier. I was way more settled, because I wasn't trying to recapture something that at this point in my life isn't actually possible.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. I really do. The podcast, when does it air? The Diary of a Kidney Warrior. Where can people get that?
So, Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast is available on all podcasting platforms: Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and also YouTube. And if you ask, you know, try not to give free advertisement, but if you ask the box, if you know what I mean, she'll play it too.
And if people want to get hold of you, social network platforms, please.
So I'm on all social work. I'm all social media platforms:
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, and it's all at Diary of a Kidney Warrior.
Excellent. Dee, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, your story with us, your encouragement. I really do applaud you. Thank you. Continue on. Don't give up. Continue to, you know, lift up people through your journey, through the podcast. Yeah, I really do pray that God will just continue to open new doors, because I'm sure that you started off a certain way with the podcast, but you know, you're looking at expanding different avenues of how you can present it, right?
Absolutely. Monday that is the next episode. Please do
Yep.
check it out. And it is a
Okay.
visual.
Thank you so much. So, my guest on the program today, the wonderful Dee Moore. As you heard, her podcast is available everywhere. Do go and check it out for yourself. From me, Grantley, thank you for watching the show, and I will catch up with you again real soon. God bless you. Thanks for watching.